everyone. Thanks a lot for staying with us. You're watching Plain Speak with me, Shivani Gupta. The Election Commission has made the first big step in the direction of making political parties more responsible and accountable in announcing and implementing their electoral promises, especially ones that involve promises in kind or cash. In other words, freebies outside of welfare schemes. Pitching for the voters' right to be given more information, to make an informed choice, the Election Commission has proposed making full disclosures on the fiscal impact of promises and where the money will come from. They've asked political parties to share their thoughts on what the EC is proposing now. The EC in fact says, framing of manifesto is the right of parties, but Election Commission cannot overlook the undesirable impact of some of the promises and offers on the conduct of free and fair polls and level playing field. This, remember, is also following a big debate in the Supreme Court on this very issue, even as a plea asking precisely this, that political parties should give more transparency in the promises, is heard. Are we finally then moving in the direction of an informed debate on freebies and a possible curb on this unending promises spate? Will political parties be forced to disclose how they plan to fund their freebies, how they plan to implement, what is going to be the cost of it to not just the state exchequer, but eventually the citizen? And will the culture of today's gain over tomorrow's pain be arrested? Those are the questions we will take to our guests in just a bit. But first up, take a look at what the ECI has proposed. It gives a sense of what they're trying to do in line with what the Supreme Court has also said. The Election Commission of India has suggested a format for disclosure on promises made to aid standardization and comparison. When all parties make such similar promises, for example, 200 units of electricity free, they will provide some details on that promise, and then voters will be able to compare their plans. Disclosure on the financial impact of the promises made for voters to make an informed choice, a disclosure on the financial implication of the promises and the impact on the state's fiscal health. This is very important because we don't sometimes understand how bad something could be a few years down the line on our own finances, because ultimately state finances come from us, the voters. And disclosure should mention financial resources required for that promise to be fulfilled and the ways to finance that promise. This is most important. Once this is provided, then experts can truly debate whether the plan being provided by a political party is actually authentic and workable or not. Take a look at the format that has been provided for political parties to do exactly this. This is exactly the performer of sorts that the Election Commission has shared. First, the extent and expanse of the coverage, like individual, family, community, BPL line or all population. This gives you an idea of the targeted people the scheme is meant for. Second, the quantification of the physical coverage. This will of course give you an idea of the number of people who are covered under that particular scheme. Then there is also, of course, quantification of financial implications of the promises made, basically how much money is needed to fulfill that electoral promise or even a manifesto promise. And number 4, availability of the financial resources. So what is already available in the state funds, all of this will have to be filled as part of the declarations that the political parties will make. Finally, there is a point of ways and means of raising resources for meeting the additional expenditure. For example, that could come by increasing tax, non-tax revenues, rationalization of expenditure, additional borrowings, and any other sources to be specified. Importantly here, you would get to know what the impact of that freebie is going to be eventually on your pocket, because remember, there are no free lunches as a society. There may be as an individual, because someone is definitely paying even for what others are getting. Now that this proposal has been sent to political parties, a quick reminder of what the centre's stand on freebies, quote-unquote, has been. They've said that freebies are often not part of manifestos. They are announced only in political rallies ahead of elections. Freebies culture elevated to an art. Elections only are fought on this these days. If freebies are considered welfare, it will lead to an economic disaster. And Solicitor General had also, while representing the central government, said that they propose a committee with various members to look into this issue. Election Commission notably had at that time said that they cannot be part of this committee because they're a constitutional body. But here's also a look at what other parties have said in court. The Aam Aadmi Party is obviously vociferously against terming what is their politics primarily as freebie politics. They've opposed the formulation of the expert body and its mandate on deciding what is freebie, etc. DMK is another party which says that welfare scheme is for the marginalized. It cannot be termed as freebies. The Congress, by and large, has also taken a similar position that policies for the marginalized classes cannot be termed as freebies. So the big debate that's coming up, is this the right step in the right direction with the Election Commission of India sending its proposal on greater responsibility and accountability on freebies to political parties? That debate is coming up, but first up, a quick few political reactions.
फ्रीबीज को रोकना बहुत जरूरी है। राज्यों के ऊपर 70 लाख करोड़ का कर्जा पहले ही है। केंद्र और राज्य मिला दें तो लगभग 150 लाख करोड़ का कर्ज है। अगर इसे अभी भी नहीं रोका गया, आने वाले समय में हमारी आर्थिक स्थिति पाकिस्तान और लंका जैसी हो जाएगी। वर्ल्ड बैंक लोन देना बंद कर देगा, ना अमेरिका लोन देगा, ना जापान लोन देगा, अगर हमने फ्रीबीज को नहीं कंट्रोल किया तो। जो जिस तरीके से कर्ज बढ़ता जा रहा है, मैं इलेक्शन कमीशन के इस निर्णय का स्वागत करता हूं कि वो मॉडल कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट में अमेंडमेंट करेंगे।
जनता इसलिए टैक्स देती है कि उनको और उनकी जिंदगी में जो सहूलियतें हैं वो सरकार दे सके, चाहे वो बिजली हो, चाहे वो पानी हो, चाहे वो स्कूल हो, चाहे वो अस्पताल हो, चाहे वो ट्रांसपोर्ट की सुविधा हो, और वो सब देना सरकारों की मूल जिम्मेदारी।
I want to go across to the guests who are joining us. Anuja Kapoor is from the Delhi BJP unit. Siddharth Sharma is from the Aam Aadmi Party. Sarvanan is joining us from the DMK. And also Kishore Subramaniam, financial expert, is joining us. I want to begin with my expert today before I get in my political representatives. Kishore, you've been on my show. You've discussed this issue a few times with us before. I want to first begin by asking you, we were discussing exactly who will bell the cat. Do you think that this start that the Election Commission has made about asking for greater clarity on how a political party hopes and plans to fund its promise to the electorate, do you think this is the right beginning, and can this really be implemented? Is this an implementable idea on ground in the heat and bustle of Indian politics, where you could get political parties to do this and voters to be more informed?
Yes, let me first tell you that it's quite possible. First, it's a welcome move by the CEC because greater transparency is required, and the CEC himself, being from the financial background, has actually asked for exact and correct details. How is a party going to be accountable for this in terms of the feasibility, in terms of how it's going to fund, whether there's going to be taxpayer money which is going to be increased, and how is a party going to actually implement the scheme? Because in a rally, to comment anything and announce any freebie is easy for any political party. And I'm not here speaking about left and everyone has that.
Yeah.
What is important is there is a sheet which has to be filled by the political party. The finance secretary, the Ministry of Finance is going to fill that. Now, the authenticity of such sheets, these are not income tax papers.
Yeah.
These are not going to be audited. These can be publicly debated in news channels like this. But the CAG, will it audit these numbers? Because the implementation and the announcement has a lag. Because if you announce it today, you're going to implement it 3 months later, because this is coming under the MCC.
Yeah.
And as per the model code of conduct, whatever you announce and whatever numbers you're going to give is going to have an implication. Now, let's understand 2 points here. The Aam Aadmi Party, which is fighting for this, should remember that in Punjab, the debt to GSDP ratio is gone haywire. Absolutely. It's at 44% plus. Now, that is catastrophic for a state like Punjab. Now, you take any state, the DISCOM issue, the electricity issue, you take the classic case of Punjab again.
Yes,
after
absolutely.
being elected, they came to the central government asking for funding because they were running short.
Yeah,
Then
why
do you promise in the first place?
Precisely. Can I take that to our Aam Aadmi Party representative? Then, Kishore, you can respond one more time. Siddharth, I know the Aam Aadmi Party disagrees with calling your free electricity water model as a freebie model, and please stick to free electricity and water. I'm not going to go into healthcare and education. Those are not considered freebies by anybody. We've all clarified that. But today the Election Commission is saying, okay, you make these promises, but also give us some sort of a chart as to how you're going to fund this once you come to power. Is the Aam Aadmi Party agreeable with this or not?
Very happy Navratri to all your viewers, Shivani.
Same to you.
Since you have very clearly encapsulated the details or the engagement that we can make on this debate. Let me clarify here once and for all. When we say we are giving something to Delhi people, the Delhi citizens, electricity, it's an incentive that we are giving. We are giving them 200 units, and we are saying that if you use more than 200 units, you will be charged for all the units that you've used. Well, if you use below that, then you get a subsidy. So that one thing should be very clear. So that according to your own definition will not fall under freebie, because we are giving an incentive. Point number two, there is something called as incentive to people. In every house, in every household, in every viewers that they are watching, there would be small children. Would we be, as parents, charging the small children for the food that we give them, or for the education that we give them, or the electricity that we give them, although our children are not yet of a productive age? Yet we invest in them, because in the future we see them as a productive people and who are going to add value to our family, including the society
but
and the
every
nation.
family lives
So,
within its means, no, Siddharth? The question is
can I
that
cut?
every state has to live within its means.
Shivani, I thought this was a discussion and not a debate.
It is a debate. Both. It's a discussion and a debate. One second. Request all of you to just calm down. One second. Siddharth, one second. It is a debate. You will be interjected. There will be some cross questioning. Please be okay with that.
Then I'm okay with it.
Kishore already wants to come in. I'm going to hold Kishore for a little bit. Kishore, just hold your horses for a minute. Let Siddharth finish and you come in.
Yeah. So when we say we are investing in people, Aam Aadmi Party's fundamental thought is that there is going to be people in this nation of 140 crore people who need certain incentives, who need to be invested upon, and we invest in them. Just like our viewers invest in the kids of their house, in the next generation of the house, we invest in them. Now, as far as freebies are concerned, would the BJP spokesperson or Shivani yourself, would you be asking the central government that the hundreds of crores of vaccines that the government gave into the arms of our citizens for free, will it be considered as a freebie? Is it not? So let us not get into that, because obviously the BJP will not have an answer. Obviously, the anchor will not have an answer, because
I have an answer for that. I paid for my vaccine because I can. One second, sir. Siddharth. First of all, you shouldn't think that just because you dragged me into this debate, then you're going to be successful in making your argument. Since you dragged me in, I'm going to respond to you now.
I'm going to defend the central government.
I'm defending myself. You dragged me in. I'm going to defend myself.
Because they are saying that those people who are willing to pay for the vaccines, let them go ahead and pay. And those people who are not able to pay, we are going to give them, because this is an investment.
So that's fundamentally different than a freebie,
exactly,
right?
that is the formula that Aam Aadmi Party has been using in Delhi.
No, you call your electricity. One second. When you make your electricity promises in election rallies, you don't say that we are giving you a subsidy. Please.
It's not a promise.
When you make these promises in election rallies, you say we will give you 200 units free. You don't say we will give you subsidy on those 200 units. There's a difference. Then your promises are either false or you're misrepresenting them here.
No, we are not misrepresenting. We are saying that if you use below 200 units, you're going to get a subsidy. You're going to get an incentive.
That's not what you say in the political rallies, sir. That's precisely what the question is. Let's say you want to give subsidy, that's fine. I don't have a problem with it. The question I asked you was, the election commission is today saying, so that's, please stop shouting. The question I asked you was, the election commission is saying that you have to provide this form, you have to fill this form when you make these promises. Are you okay with that or not? That's the question I actually asked you.
Yeah, that's what we are saying. We are asking the people that are you going to use within 200 units or not?
Sir, the question, Siddharth Sharma,
we are going to use within 200 units.
Siddharth Sharma, please listen to the question I'm asking you. The question I asked you was, Election Commission is asking for political parties' response on this form that they want to be filled by election political parties as part of MCC code, where you give us a plan of how you plan to fund your election promises. Are you okay with that or not? Or are you going to oppose that in court because you've made yourself a party to this case?
Every political party is a party to this case, and even the BJP
No,
will have to write to
that is
write
wrong
to them.
information.
Everyone has to write to them. Everyone.
Are you
when there's a
agreeable or
format,
not,
we
sir?
will
Answer
reply.
my question.
The point, that's what, Shivani, why aren't you getting my point? We are not making false promises. We are making it as
I'm
part
not
of our
saying that. I'm
manifesto.
asking you a
The
simple,
MCC,
direct question.
the
Are you
MCC.
going to? Are you
Shivani,
with the
Shivani,
EC when they
Shivani, you are
say
intelligent
that you
enough
should
to
fill this
understand
form? Or
that
are
there
you
is a
against it? It is
difference
as simple as that.
between
Shivani,
Can I
he's
please
not
look at
going
my
to
guest?
answer
One
your
second, one
question.
second.
I'm
Not
sorry,
like
but
this, please.
Shivani,
Not like
he's
this.
not going to answer your question.
One second, I'm asking a question to my guest. Can I please see my guest? Yes, Siddharth. I'm not asking you about your promises. I asked you a simple fundamental question. Are you okay with this proposal of the Election Commission? Please answer my question.
Election Commission is a free body. It can ask questions to anyone, including the BJP and the Congress, and we are going to
Dear
answer to
God,
them.
why
The
can't you
point
just
here is
make
that-
your position
Arey
clear?
yaar, Shivani, let me complete. Let me complete the sentence. Why aren't you letting me complete the
Because
sentence?
you're not answering
The
my
point
question.
here- Let me complete the sentence and then let the viewers decide whether I've been speaking sense or not. The point here, very simple point. Within 10 seconds, I'm going to make it. Aam Aadmi Party is saying that whatever we are saying is part of our manifesto. The Election Commission is today asking something about the MCC, which is happening about giving certain assurances, public assurances in rallies. There is a difference between a verbal rally and a written assurance as part of the manifesto. Both are two different things. Aam Aadmi Party gives manifestos. BJP
But still, are you
makes
okay
promises.
with the Election Commission
let
asking
the-
you
let
for
the
this
Election
disclosure?
Commission- let
You're
the
needlessly
election-
trying to
let
complicate this issue,
let
Siddharth.
the Election Commission ask us in the format. When the
They
format
have
reaches
asked this
us-
of political parties. What else are we discussing?
Yes, we will answer it.
I'm asking
moment
you,
we will answer it.
Do you have
The
a party
moment we will
position to
answer
share
it,
or
it
not?
will be in the public domain. We are going to be answering to the Election Commission that Aam Aadmi Party
that's all
is
I
of a
asked you.
very firm view.
That's all
that
I
the
asked
people
you,
of
for
this
heaven's
nation-
sake.
the
Anyways,
people
I
of
want to
this
go across
nation
to our
are
other
not
guests as
getting
well.
any freebies.
The
We are taking
Aam Aadmi
from them
Party
and we are going to
representative
give it to
also has
them.
a question for the BJP. Of course, we are going to keep veering into that very basic debate, Anuja. What is welfare and what is welfare for you and what is freebie for you? So please respond to what the Aam Aadmi Party is saying, and also, of course, I'm guessing the BJP welcomes the Election Commission's move.
Of course, Shivani, we always welcome this kind of a move, and that is why Siddharth Sharma ji has having a high BP right now. And look at the way he's talking to you. Amazing, amazing. I applaud him for
Shivani,
this,
are you a doctor to know
I think
I'm
that this is the
suffering
way.
from high BP or low BP? Come on, let us not get into personal
Siddharth ji,
things.
are you
Let
a
us not
BJP
get into personal
spokesperson?
things.
Are you
are
Anuja
not a
Kapoor?
doctor. Anuja, are you a doctor?
Are you Anuja Kapoor?
Are you a doctor, Anuja?
So I would let
Are
you
you a
know,
doctor, Anuja?
you
Are you
are
a
a
doctor?
scam party.
We are having
A
a debate
scam
here.
party.
We
You
are having
are a
debate here
scam
and everyone
party,
has
a
right to
corrupt
speak.
party who takes the taxpayers' money, which should be for the people of the Delhi, to Punjab. And now from Punjab, you have finished the budget of Delhi and you have finished the budget of Punjab. You have given 47 convoy to your Bhagwat Maan, and you have given so many security people to your Arvind Kejriwal ji, and now you're doing it in Gujarat. Don't you shout here in the debate and you say you only have a voice.
Anuja, please
The
continue.
BJP has a much
Anuja,
more
let's get
voice.
back to the subject now, please. Can I just have Anuja on the screen now? Can I just have Anuja and I, please? Anuja, let's get back to the subject. Anuja, let's get back to the subject.
Yes, the debate is right to food to ration is a fundamental right, and the freebies can be lifesavers during dire time, has also been given by Election Commission. Let Siddharthji do Google on this. And moreover, he does not even know that how much debt he is. See the CAG report. The CAG report will tell him how much debt he is in. He is in a debt of 7% from 2015-16 to 2019-20. 2.268 into 9.3 crore. So you do not even know.
As loans are concerned, what is the loan on Gujarat
and
today?
this is what is
What is the
happening.
loan on Uttar Pradesh
No,
today?
Siddharth,
What is the
one
loan
second,
on
please, not
Maharashtra
like this.
today?
Siddharth,
Is
Anuja
Maharashtra
waited
government
patiently
running
when you
profit?
were speaking.
Is the
Please give her the same courtesy. Not like this, just Anuja and I, please.
There is only
नहीं आप इनको बोल दीजिए ये शो वन साइडेड है इनको बोलने दीजिए
नहीं आप बोलिए
मैं भी
अनुजा
शांत होकर मैं बोलूं।
Anuja, please finish your point. He also raised the
नहीं,
issue
there
of
is no point,
vaccinations.
Shivani
Once
ji.
again, he drew the Anuja please he drew the analogy of vaccinations given free And clearly, hundreds of millions in India have taken the vaccine free of cost.
Ask him, has he
First of
taken
all,
the vaccination
all I
or
was
not?
trying to
No,
tell him
ask
at that time
Ask
was,
him, has
all
he
I was
taken-
trying
no,
to tell
has
him
he
at that
taken the
time was
vaccination or
that
not?
I paid
No,
for
no,
my
if it is a
vaccine.
freebie,
Anuja,
no,
one
no,
second,
it
one
is a
second. Let me
freebie.
finish,
Has he
then you
taken
can
the
come.
vaccination or
Anuja,
not?
let me finish, then you can come in. I will give you time. All I was trying to tell
He's
him at that
speaking
time,
so much and
because he
shouting.
dragged me in at that time, was I did pay for my vaccine, and I paid for it because I can afford to pay for it, and I made that conscious choice to do it. Yet
Even
at the
I
same
did,
time,
Shivani ji,
Anuja,
even I
one
paid
second,
for the
please,
vaccine.
let me finish. Please, please. Yet at the same time, I am not going to compare vaccination during a COVID pandemic to free water and electricity. I tried to make that distinction at the very start. Please don't include education and healthcare here. Those are not considered freebies. You can give, obviously, targeted subsidies to people, and that's all. I'll leave it at that. But before I go to my other guest, Anuja, please finish your point.
So what I'm trying to say is that BJP welcomes this move, that the freebies and the welfare scheme should be taken into account.
Okay.
And what center is saying, center has a surplus budget to spend. And we know how to put and which bill to be forwarded and how much budget needs to be given. We have a proper referendum to it. Does Aam Aadmi Party has it? No.
Okay.
Because they only, they're in Delhi. Now they're in Punjab. You've seen the status of Punjab also, what is happening. So
Okay.
budget
Can I move on? Anuja,
center is
one of my guests has
39,000.
not spoken, Mr. Saravanan from the DMK. Sir, you have also
Sir,
been on
allow
my
me to
show.
finish, Shivani
You've been
ji. Allow me
unhappy with this entire analogy or debate between welfare versus freebies. Today, the Election
Shivani ji,
Commission
you
is
have
saying,
not allowed me
Anuja,
to
I'm going to
speak,
come
no,
back
this
to you.
is
Please
very
hold on.
bad.
Please
No,
hold
no,
on. You've got your
this is
time.
a one-sided-
Anuja, please hold
this
on.
was a one-sided,
DMK,
Shivani ji. You allowed
can I
Shivani
please
ji
have
to
Saravanan on
talk
screen
so
with me?
much.
Anuja, please don't heckle me like this. It doesn't help you. Mr. Saravanan, your take today when the Election Commission is saying, fine, you make your promises, you have a vision, you want to do something for a certain class of citizens or for all citizens in a state, please give us a plan and a financial plan of how you're going to do it. Your thoughts?
Yeah. See, unequals should not be treated equally. This is the basic fundamental principle on which this welfare schemes or freebies or whatever, however you term it, are being doled out. And in the state of Tamil Nadu, it has been a successful model. We call this as a Dravidian model. In the last 70 years, we have been thriving on these welfare measures. We were able to build the economy, and because of this welfare measures or freebies, however you term it, there is socially inclusive growth. This kind of a phenomenon is not found in any other state. That has been made possible because of this. The question is, has the BJP termed what is a freebie and what is a welfare measure?
No,
Can they dare
the
do
Election
that?
Commission is also
Can
not
they
doing
dare
that.
do that?
No, the Election Commission is
So
not
they'll
doing that.
not be able to do that. So
Election
let's-
Commission
yeah.
is just saying, I'm running that format on the screen,
I'm
sir.
coming to it.
The
See,
Election
I'm coming
Commission
to
is
it.
just saying, okay, you make these promises, whatever your vision is. Nobody is classifying it as a freebie or a welfare at this stage. The Election Commission
Yeah.
is saying, whatever your vision is, whatever your promise is, you please give us in this format.
Yeah. So the Prime Minister suddenly becomes enlightened and comes and says there should not be any freebies. It is very bad for the economy. And he goes on, they go on to buy for a plane for 8,000 crores. So
Sir, you're
it
not
is a
answering
very
my
duplicit.
question.
I am coming to it. See, the Election Commission has been given this mandate in 2013. The Supreme Court says, Election Commission, please find a way how to regulate this. From 2013 to 2022, until the Prime Minister speaks, the Election Commission is on a hibernation mode. And suddenly it wakes up on before the Gujarat elections, when AAP goes on promises so many things. They say, oh, they have founded this whole freebie culture. This is not good for the economy. Whereas every state ruled by the BJP is promising one thing or the other.
Okay.
You are
Anuja, please
speaking
respond to
about color
that.
television,
I've
you're speaking
heard
about
similar
laptops.
promises on
Those
water
were-
and
just a moment,
electricity
just a
being
moment.
repeated by BJP leaders as well in their rallies.
Just a
Madam,
moment.
this is what, now please don't interrupt, not
the
anybody should
laptops
interrupt
and
when I'm
color
speaking.
televisions which were given
Allow
were
DMK
useful for the
Sahab,
students
allow me
during
to
the
speak.
COVID.
DMK Sahab, allow me to speak, na? Allow me to speak. You're taking my time.
Respond
So
to what
is
he's
happening
asking.
is, as I said it before only, BJP welcomes this approach, and BJP has a fund on which it is talking about giving electricity and water. Now, if we talk about the other states and the way that they are talking about, they are in debt. The states are in debt, and they do not have that much of a budget from where they can allocate the freebies and the welfare, whatever they are talking about. So what is need to look into that? Can you do a holistic approach?
Don't
And
pedalize
what
on
can you
national
do a
television.
sir, again you are
Don't
talking in between.
pedalize.
Either you speak or I speak.
Don't
Then
pedalize.
why are you keeping on coming in between? So welfare scheme is always not connected with you only, na? So what we are talking about is we have to look at a holistic approach that till the end of the government on that tenure, the budget also stays surplus and the schemes and the welfares of the Aam party can also come into it. So we are talking about the Aam Aadmi at Antyodaya. We're talking about those people and the poor welfare. Now, what you see in Aam Aadmi party is that they're talking about the water subsidy. They talked about the electrical subsidy. And you must have also known that the LGF asked the chief secretary that how these people in DRC has ordered and directing the GNCTD to pay electricity subsidy to consumers through DBT has not been implemented till now. So this is also another scam which is coming up. So they are doing prejudice and they're discriminatory to the Aam Aadmi of Delhi.
Okay, I think the fundamental issue here to remember is
they are talking about things, but they are not giving it.
Okay, Saravanan, the issue here is not about a scheme. The issue here is whether a scheme is just for everybody, even those who don't need it but can take benefit of it, or whether a scheme is purely targeted. Please remember, that's how possibly the biggest distinction between a dole and a welfare scheme will be made. Saravanan, 30 seconds and I'll go to Siddharth.
Yes. See, none of the budgets none of the states in the country, or for that matter, the union budget is a surplus budget. We all go by the deficit budget. Government does not have surplus funds.
It is 39,040. This is 39. You don't 39.
Unverified accessions.
Okay, can I please have Saravanan only, please? Can I please have Saravanan only, please? I have limited time. Finish.
Deficit of the union government.
Saravanan, please answer my question. It is about how targeted the scheme is.
I'm coming to it. See, that's what certain schemes, it has to be targeted. Some schemes, it has to go universal because there should not be any entry barriers. For example, in the state of Tamil Nadu, we have this scheme as a free bus ride for women, which cannot be targeted. It has to be entry. The barrier should not be there when there is an entry for the scheme.
Okay,
so
but should you not disclose
everything in the
fiscal impact of that universal scheme on your budget and how you plan to fund it? That's the fundamental debate.
Yes, you are right. If say some party is there in the opposition, how will they know the intricate details of the budget? Every detail is not there.
Okay.
You will not be able to unless you are there in the government. You take hold of the reins. You will not be able to find out if there is going to be a sudden expense. For example, if we had this COVID, everything was clearly.
One second, I need to come in here.
Karthik, I'll give you time. Karthik, don't worry, I'm going to give you time.
Unexpected expenses.
Okay,
so
Karthik.
does it mean that
no
scheme should go
please
on?
Respond to what one second. Please respond, Karthik, to what both Siddharth has said and what Saravanan is saying. Obviously, he raises a point. How are we going to give you these intricate details if, let's say, for example, we've never been in power?
Okay. So let me respond first to the primary point which the Aam Aadmi Party spokesperson said, saying that it is like raising your child.
Yeah.
You don't raise your child by funding it from the neighbor. Let's first understand that fundamental issue. You have to raise your child from your own money. You cannot do it from the taxpayers' money. That's point number one. Point number two, to Mr. Saravanan, let me tell them clearly that the point is not whether you implement a freebie or not. Can you give the details and the feasibility and the financial feasibility of how are you going to do and what is the fiscal implication of that? To BJP, let me tell you, it is not clean state. Every BJP government also promises, while I appreciate what the Honorable Prime Minister, Mr. Narendra Modi said, that freebie as a culture should go. He never said that it should remain with BJP and others should go. But for Aam Aadmi Party, let me tell you, your argument falls flat, saying that we are investing in the future. You cannot invest in the future with my money, and that too without my consent, without telling me what's happening.
That is why
having the financial feasibility for that, and having debt at this level.
Precisely, that's what this form will possibly enable you and I to understand what is going from my pocket to fund a certain subsidy, dole, freebie, and then you will make a more informed, more conscious choice of whether that subsidy or freebie is actually required. And I think that's where this debate is. I've run out of time for today. I will call all of you again. Thank you very much for your time. I have to slip into a very short break. Clearly, this is a very heated debate that will continue. On the other side, of course, we'll get you more on the controversy over the new film set to release next year. But the controversy is already taking place now, and that's the film Adi Purush. Stay tuned.